Regardless, though, I wanted to point out, John, EHOME. They've got a lot riding on this qualifier. Uh, Thank you to Dropbear as well, who shouted this out on the BTS Twitter, but they are in the 12th place right now in DPC, so by essentially qualifying for this minor, it will give them another opportunity to get a few more DPC points and secure their slot at TI9. That is assuming they can make it to this minor through the qualifiers, though.
Yeah, it's definitely key for EHOME and much more pertinent for them to get to this minor again, as you mentioned. 12th place in DPC, and there could be a couple of upsets that could happen if they don't get in, so probably very important for them to make it through here. I do like seeing that, because you can kind of tell from the draft, it's just, it's definitely well-rounded, safe at the same time. It's not the most typical composition. I mean, we don't usually see that Batrider up against anything without the Drow, and in this case, even Typhoon actually getting that slaughter as well. That's a hero that we have not seen in a very long time. It ever since the rework, of course, it has had its power spikes go up in a weird way, but it just hasn't been popping out again. And seeing it here for Typhoon does mean they have a lot of heroes that can do a lot of early work. All of these heroes can really buy time for that Medusa, but the issue is eHome side has the same thing going on. The Doom, the Oracle, the Batrider, all of these heroes can really buy space for the anti-mage to grow big, and the question now becomes who gets bigger faster, or who gets, who is stronger when they're as big. And, eHome has that direct counter again in that anti-mage, just abling to eat through that mana shield quite fast and dealing the damage as well.
Certainly do. I'm gonna say Typhoon. They have plenty of ways to deal with the anti-mage. I mean, you've got the disruptor with the static storm in the kinetic field. You've got a burrow strike. You've got the StarLadder stun and the bash now, as well as the stone gates from Medusa. So it's gonna be a lot of work here for the anti-mage to get done. Definitely a lot of things to dodge as well through these engagements. Still, though, one more pick to be made. It does feel like they do just need some kind of position 2 in the mid lane, unless they do want to run that Batrider mid, but probably just prefer it as that position 4 Batrider, maybe even the position 3. EHOME, how do you finish this off? Of course, you do go straight for that TA, the one hero that can just get online so much faster than a Medusa can and just start setting the tempo for the game.
Yeah, I do like this pick from eHome. And again, taking a look at what Typhoon has, they don't have the best way of melting that refraction. They don't have any instantaneous lockdown. You mentioned the Sand King probably being their best bet in terms of long range stun until the Slardar maybe gets a blink. Even then, you do have a lot, like a small window where you could just blink out if you time it right as the AM or even the TA. So again, that lack of instantaneous stun from something like a shadow shaman, a lion, even something like a Bane would be much more instantaneous and guarantees you the hold on these two slippery heroes. It's not there. Now, the one thing the TA has working against it, of course, the Slaughter does have that corrosive haze, so your meld isn't going to be as effective for hiding. But still, you can, again, depending on that blink timing, depending on the reaction times from the players, of course, it's not going to be too hard to slip out. Sure, it's still a bit tricky, especially if they just straight up drop that static storm to keep you in place. But Typhoon goes with a lifesteal. Now, it's funny. This hero was popping out earlier before, and it was always being banned out, but we never saw it too much. It does come out here, and it's an interesting pick. You have some nice natural carriers there in the Slardar and the Sand King, and you can come online fast if you don't go for that Radiance Rush. So they do have ways, again, of stalling this game out for AQ to get big, but eHome as well has that same aggression in their lineup.
Well, we'll see how much it pays off. It does feel like Fonte on the lifestealer is going to be kited around a lot. Like, just looking at EHOME's lineup, he's going to need the real lockdown from the rest of the heroes to make sure he can actually just right-click the at least never end or 430 on the TA. Plus, the TA also does pretty darn well against the lifestealer. Doesn't care for the armor. Just goes straight through it, and gonna find out how this game turns out. Of course, this is game number 1 of a best of 3 series. Now, John, I do have to ask you, overall, who came out with the better draft in your opinion?
I'm gonna have to say I do like Typhoon's draft, like the amount of control they have in team fights is much stronger. And they have some pretty good power spikes spread throughout the game. Like, the one thing that's going to take a while is, of course, that Medusa, but even then, once she has enough levels to pump 1 point into the Stone Gaze, she can join these fights as well. They have so much control in that Sand King Disruptor, even the StarLadder, in a great big area that if these guys come online, decide to take the 5v5, EHOME's response is really just mainly single target control. You have the Batrider with a great lasso, the Doom, of course, with the Doom. And that's it. That's all your control right now on EHOME. So it's going to be a bit of an issue in the big 5v5s. You're not going to be able to get that control down on Typhoon, and that could be an issue.
See how it all goes. Again, a lot on the line here for EHOME. Typhoon, though, of course, do also want to try and make it to their first minor of the year if they can. And why not just before TI? Wouldn't hurt at all. So it should be a very fun game we're about to watch. A lot of pressure on AQ to try and secure that farm on the Medusa ASAP, but so much more on Fonte to kind of do the same, but at the same time be ready to fight early on. And I wonder what kind of build Fonte will go for here on this Lifestealer to be able to try and contest this tempo setting that EHOME is going to be bringing out.
You know, I reckon it's going to be something fast, like maybe a quick SNY, maybe back to that armlet that Lifestealers used to go for. We have seen a lot of Lifestealers really go for that Radiance. I think every time we've seen the Lifestealer, it's either been the SNY rush or the Radiance rush, and I think in this case it's definitely the SNY. Again, because you have that Medusa on your own side, you're not going to be able to stall out and farm, because you're just not going to have enough in terms of applying pressure. Without this Lifestealer, he's going to be really key to your mid-game momentum. So something fast for Fonte, and he does farm fairly well. Like, he is pretty excellent in that safe lane role. Give him any hero, and as long as he's not contested too hard, he will find a farm. Even then, he knows when to dip into that jungle and start getting that safe farm as well. So something fast, again, just something fast that he can join in, he can go into his StarLadder, get those early kills going, and apply pressure to EHOME that their AM won't come online. You want to make sure that won't happen. And the TA is kind of pressured as well.
We'll see eventually what he's planning to do with this. Of course, they are going to be running an aggressive trial lane, which we do see over and over again. A lot of teams in this region do seem to really love those aggressive trial lanes with that position 1. Faith Beyond, though, is going to be in that safe lane for EHOME, but shouldn't have too much of a difficulty here on the Batrider. Imagine it's not going to be too hard for him to just stay out of trouble, though. It looks like Faith is going to rotate down mid. 430 is there on the TA, though. Faith just going to have the Thunderstrike, so planning to dish out some initial harassment out onto 430. Force out some regen, but apart from that, nothing too annoying here for 430 to deal with.
Yeah, again, it takes a while for this lane to pick up. Again, it's probably going to be a toss-up as to who it favors. The TA can kind of clear the waves fast, but AQ sustain with that Mystic Snake is going to be really annoying to deal with.
Faith is actually starting to become very frustrating towards 430. Already forcing out the salve there from the TA as well. He basically got the shared tango and salve being committed. Only one shared tango left, but he's got that on cooldown for another 30 seconds or so. It does appear Faith's going to stick around. Just keep ensuring 430 does not feel comfortable. He does hit that level 2 mark now, though, so he would at least have level 1 refraction. Though even that won't help that much. Though you did see Xingqiu as well coming in on the Doom on the Medusa. That should force Faith out of this lane a bit.
Yeah, and again, that's a lot of resources to ensure your mid lane has a decent time. But it does equalize now. You're going to have both mid lanes all alone for a bit.
Bot lane, bit of action going on. Never end. Getting aggressive. It looks like KU and Guevara were trying to have a go at Y. Eventually have to let him go. Supports on both ends. Still sticking around here in the mid lane. Faith again. Going to return back and start dishing out more harassment towards 430. Plus he did already bring another salve out on the TA, so he'll be okay. But I suppose this is one way to shut down this kind of hero, right? Just keep making him feel super uncomfortable in the lane. Only problem is, though, he's still going to be able to move into the jungle later on and just start doing stacks anyway. Really one of those strengths about the TAs, you can't really shut her down.
It's the same thing with the Medusa, though. Like, the Medusa, after a couple of points in that split shot, can jungle fine.
AQ. Falling pretty darn low here, 430. Does not have refraction, though, so he will not continue to chase. That mana shield gonna save the day for AQ, though he was basically out of mana by the end of it anyway. EHOME gonna be pretty satisfied with that, I'm sure. AQ, he doesn't have much regen left.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rough time for AQ if that Doom rotates back in. And looks like SinQ is walking back up, although CatQ spots that out.
Yeah, keep eyes on it. Make sure that they can't just dive AQ. But now SinQ is in position. Not moving in, but again, CatQ just around the corner, just waiting, and now he knows AQ gonna move back immediately. SinQ, though, will still be able to find the Infernal Blade, but now the Burrow Strike comes in, and they want to punish this Doom, and it looks like they will. That is the first kill of the game, but it does get split, so there's no first blood coming out quite yet. But a nice kill nonetheless there by Typhoon.
Definitely so. Just all these resources being put in to drain out AQ isn't paying off. The Doom has been trying, but of course that it just doesn't work out down mid. And again, I think it's back to both of these mid laners just coping with each other for this point.
Look over to those other lanes as well. I mean, bot lane, Fonte, he rotated over, so they actually put the AM up top instead. Fonte, not going to have the easiest time in the world up against SinQ on that Doom, nor is it going to be easy up against Y on the Oracle, but could be okay for the moment. They did actually rotate Guevara up to the top lane, it seems, on that StarLadder. Though, you look at Never End on that AM, and that's the one to worry about here. At least for the side of Typhoon, right? He's top of the last hits board by quite a bit. Sitting at 29 last hits, 3 denies. And as it stands, they don't really have a way to shut him down quite yet.
Yeah, it's interesting for Typhoon to actually give Fonte this solo lane. They're not going to be applying pressure to this AM, and you can't get a runaway start. We have seen it before. When they get fast Battle Fury timings, it escalates quite fast. So, really interesting to see that prioritization here from Typhoon.
Never End. Just going to keep farming up, having no issues whatsoever. Though now, pretty much it being a lifestealer versus AM lane, it looks like they're just going to trade farm for a while. So at least Fonte will be able to claim that farm as well. Meanwhile, 430 has been left alone in the mid lane, which allows him that catch-up farm as well. It does appear that AQ did rotate over to that top shrine spot to shrine up with the rest of his team. I don't know if Typhoon's done really enough to stop EHOME throughout the mid game quite as yet, because they still are getting everything they want. And I know it feels like it's one of those things where it's like, well, you've got to shut down the Medusa too, but EHOME, they have the capability with this draft to finish the game so much faster. So I do feel like it's more on Typhoon's end to try and shut down EHOME this game.
I mean, that's a fair point to make, but I think you really have to remember just the capabilities of Typhoon's draft as well. Even if you don't have that Medusa joining in early, you have a lot of team fight from your supports, and, you know, a lot of power from Fonte's lifestealer. The issue is the supports aren't getting EXP. So even if I say that team fight's not going to be out for until maybe 12 minutes in, at 15 at the latest if these supports really just get drained.
Well, looks like SinQ is planning to rotate once again through that mid lane onto AQ, though it isn't going to be an easy kill on the Medusa. Does have full mana and full HP, and not to mention Faith is around the corner, and now they'll spot him out. They'll go for the Disruptor instead. Traps were lane, but 430 popped it a bit late and decided better off not chasing. He doesn't even have brown boots on at the moment, so looks like he will bring them out on the courier. They'll leave the Disruptor be.
SinQ has been really aggressive on this Doom, just staying by that mid lane, making sure that AQ actually doesn't have stacks. Like that large camp closest to the lane is just not stacked up, and SinQ has been clearing that out. I think that's a really great way to keep this Medusa in check. She's not going to have any sort of recovery stacks to go back to once he can clear them out.
I would agree, that is very clever. like you said, SynQ just sticks around, waits for the Devour. This is going to be very annoying once they find out that this has happened. Meanwhile, top lane though, Faith Beyond will end up losing his life. Does appear Guevara on the StarLadder will go ahead and get that done with the rest of his team. Meanwhile, AQ has actually rotated to the top jungle instead. It's not really close to the lane though, so he's not going to be able to be as efficient as you would hope. But still, looks like he does feel much safer just doing this instead of trying to contest 430 at this point.
Yeah, he has been under heavy pressure in that lane. Of course, SynQ never letting off. He just does the same walking pattern, goes back to his side, goes down that ramp into the other side, and clears out camps, goes down mid, applies pressure, and does it again. And that consistent rotation is kind of slowing down AQ's farm. It does show as well. 46-8, not the greatest start for Medusa, especially when the TA is 59-20 now.
CatU now mid lane. Gotta be careful. Faith Beyond will rotate over on the bat. It looks like they will go straight after CatU. SynQ again looping around on that Doom. CatU though gonna be able to walk out of here, it seems like. Fortunes then though will connect from the Oracle. With that, surely you find this kill on the Sand King. They will indeed find it in the end. Meanwhile though, rotation's coming out here from the side of Typhoon. They want to go for a team fight and they do aim for Y first. He is pretty fast though, even on the Oracle with no brutes, but they will eventually find him. Nice little finish there by Fonte and the rest of EHOME. Thinking about going back in now, but there are a lot of heroes from the side of Typhoon ready to go again. They'll go on Faith Beyond first on that Batrider, though now AQ losing a lot of HP and completely out of mana. NeverEnd just comes in with the Mana Void, and now they do get the lasso off as well. CatU ends up losing his own life. Those were two massive pickoffs for the side of EHOME to find. With that, they will just return back to the lanes.
It really comes down to that excellent vision coming out from EHOME. Just these two wards by this large camp spot out the greed from the Medusa trying to farm that camp after that engagement, and they punish very hard, so Typhoon kind of has to step it up. It's been a constant issue in that laning phase.
They are going to find Faith Beyond, it looks like, though. Faith actually being very annoying again towards AQ. Now they will spawn him out. Faith, he does have the level 1 glimpse, but will not opt to try for it. There was two banner runes, of course, spawning up towards that top lane. Nevertheless, though, slight net worth lead will come out now for EHOME. It's not really what you want if you're on the side of Typhoon once again, but at the very least, they are maintaining a pretty close net worth nonetheless.
Yeah, it's not the worst start for Typhoon, definitely not the ideal. But you, again, still have ways of catching up. The key thing for Typhoon this time around is getting EXP under supports. You want those level 6s to be out in your Sand King and your Disruptor. That's going to be key to setting that momentum into that mid-game, because these guys will buy you that team fight. These guys are all the team fight you have. And you need them to be online, you need them to be ready. Your Medusa's not going to have that Stone Gaze until maybe like level 10, level 11. So you're going to have to really pick up the slack here for Typhoon and secure that big area control. They just don't quite have the EXP yet, and EHOME, with all their heroes, can really find these single target pickoffs quite fast. In fact, we see a smoke coming out from just Faith Beyond and SynQ, and that's enough to Doom and the lasso.
We'll see how much it pays off. EHOME, they look like they want to go after Fonte at the bot lane, try and shut down that Lifestealer a bit. He is about to pick up that full armlet on the Lifestealer, but they might find him out before then. Fonte tries to make a run, but the Doom does come out, and now, well, with the lasso there, a lot of TPs coming in to try and help out. It is all too late, however. CatU now going to be left alone, and Faith Beyond says, thank you very much, I'll take it. He has nowhere to go. He will Burrow Strike up towards the north, but that'll pretty much be the end of that. He's about to lose all his mana to NeverEnd, and NeverEnd will go ahead and pick up a double kill easily on that AM. In fact, have they found another? Faith. He kind of TP'd in as well, NeverEnd. He knows he's alone. Faith getting body blocked up, throws out the kinetic field, but he may not even be able to walk out of it in time. NeverEnd does not have mana for the blink, and now he does. They're not really going to leave him alone, and no, they're not. The Urn will get the job done. EHOME, again, finding three very, very big pickoffs down that bot lane.
Yeah, it's really curious as to what Typhoon is trying to set up here. They kind of just TP their supports one by one to back up there, and it just doesn't do enough. Like, this kind of staggered response is not what you want to see from Typhoon. At the very least, that does buy space for AQ. That's the one silver lining from that exchange, but it's not like he's, it's not like that period of time gave him that much farm, whereas giving those kills to Never End really accelerates his farm. Like, he's about to get his Battle Fury at pretty decent timing after the power treads. So
Certainly
he's
is.
going to have a really good start.
He claims the T1 tower at the bot lane as well. And this is exactly what EHOME need to be doing. They're just running this perfectly, it seems, though. Now you have the Blink Dagger coming up on Guevara. That's going to be quite scary on that slide. In fact, he jumps in straight onto Faith Beyond. He had Fonte with him. Faith trying to make a run for it, but does get bashed. Will end up losing his life. Now they found SinQ as well. Kinetic Field will hold him in, and he's just got nowhere to go. He's definitely dead here, and that is exactly what Typhoon needed to do. Guevara even finding more now. Why? Fate's Edict will come out, but they have the stun available. Still, why trying to make a run for it? And it looks like he actually may get out. In fact, he does. The traps from 430 do end up keeping him alive. But now that Guevara has that Blink Dagger on the StarLadder, you're going to see a lot more of those pickoffs coming out.
And that's really what Typhoon needs to set the pace. Again, all four of these heroes have to work together to buy space for AQ to get big. And with at least one tool now in Guevara, and all the level 6s on their supports, they can definitely do that. In fact, even the armlet on Fonte will help out that cause quite well. He can just infest bomb with Guevara and find these easy pickoffs very early on.
Yeah, and it looks like Fonte will follow up that armlet with the Solar Crest as well. So definitely going towards those mid-game kind of items, and that is definitely the play they need to make. Bit of a smoke break there from Guevara, though. He went for a blink. He was out of range, however. Did end up missing the stun in the end. It's like 430. I believe he has the full Desolator now coming out on the TA as well. He's been missing for a while on that TA, just farming stacks. But now with that Deso up, they want to go for a smoke rotation. And perhaps a tower after that, or maybe a Roshan. So no, they will loop around. They are going to run towards that top side jungle of the Radiant, and Faith may get caught out here. Faith will spot him out. Or Faith Beyond will spot him out, and Faith really has nowhere to go on that Disruptor. Will just end up falling here. Fortune's End does come in to hold him in place, and that's a very easy pick off. So it does feel like EHOME wanted something a lot bigger than that.
Definitely so. It was probably going to be the Desolator reveal, as you mentioned, but only finding that Disruptor isn't really the most rewarding use of the smoke. Granted, they still don't know about that Desert, although once he shows in lane, of course, it's going to be pretty obvious that it's there. And yeah, he does show up, so 430 kind of shows it off, but they really don't manage to find that kill. And now we have one level in Stone Gaze out on AQ, so he can actually join these fights if he wishes. Probably not ideal, but again, he could do that.
Well, Guevara gonna smoke up with Faith and Cat U. They are gonna try and find another pick off with this Infest Bomb. They do run towards the north. A lot of the EHOME side are on the west right now, and even Never End would be the really big pick off they want. Are they actually gonna run past him though? It does look like they will miss out on Never End. They find 430, it's still a great pick off to find. So they might have to go for Y first on the Oracle before even trying for 430. It looks like that is the plan. Faith, his smoke will be broken. Now Guevara will jump in straight onto that Oracle, and Y is gone. Now they will chase SinQ as well. Kinetic Field will come out. He does go for the TP play. It looks like he will just cancel it and stun them up and go for a bit of a run now. Though there are 5 heroes around him. He's just going to try and buy as much time as he can. It looks like it won't be that much time, however. Fonte will pick up a double kill now on the Lifestealer. That'll make it a 7-7, 16.5 minutes in.
Yeah, again, fairly even on that kill board. They probably really wanted 430, but they don't manage to get that control on him, and he does leave. I do want to raise some attention onto AQ Mike. He finished up a Sanjin Yasha first. So it does look like AQ understands he has to dip into these early fights a bit, but he is still working towards that butterfly next. Interesting build. Not very common in Medusas, if I recall right. It's definitely not one of those picks you see too often.
No, but look at this Static Storm, John. They caught 2 of them. Faith Beyond and 430 stuck in there. They just melt underneath all that lightning. Faith Beyond, though, trying to make a run for it, but Guevara runs so darn quickly. It's only so far he can run. Firefly will be there. Cat U misses the burrow, and now they miss the secondary stun as well. Some nice juking up from Faith Beyond. They are going to continue the chase, but it's all too late. They'll go back to the Roshan attempt. And it looks like they will be able to claim this pretty freely without 430 on the map.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice Roche going the way of Typhoon, and no contest from EHOME this time around. No resources to do that as well. So a nice pick-off for Typhoon gives them a little bit more in those team fights and a bit more security for AQ. Really need that on a hero like Medusa, of course. So nice kill again onto Ferrari earlier on. A bit of a shame that Fate Beyond did go away, but a few, missed stuns like that. Can't really secure the kill on the bat like that. The one thing that is a bit worrying for Typhoon is your vision. It's not the best, and every time they go for those blind smokes like earlier on, it doesn't pay off. So I do want to see the supports kind of step it up a bit. If they want to go for smoke kills and aggression early on, they're going to need a few deeper wards rather than these defensive wards they have right now.
We'll cut you now. Does have the blink up on the Sand King. Though he is surrounded, Dust will pop the invis, although they are backing off, and that is probably for a good reason. There is a smoke rotation coming in. They do commit the Doom off onto KU, but that is probably not the target they really wanted. He is eventually going to get denied, it looks like, and he does. Fonte will take care of it. Now why, though? Well, he is surviving for the moment. Now Lasso does come out as well, and 430 joins in. Fonte copping too much damage and does end up falling to Y, thanks to that Purifying Flames. Though now with AQ, they'll get rid of Y. Static Storm is there with the crush as well from Guevara. Faith Beyond trapped up. He goes down. They will get 430 out of there. They might not get Q though. In fact, hold on a minute. They'll turn around now. Never End. He's joining though. Guevara trying to make a run for it. 430 is there, but doesn't really have much mana to speak of. And AQ just turns around. Still, he did commit the Stone Gaze, so he can't really turn this around by himself. He does have Aegis, however, but he may end up losing it here. Burrow Strike though, Cat U, he found two of them once again. Nether End, he will be able to get out just in the nick of time. Faith Beyond though will find Guevara. AQ still making the chase there onto Faith Beyond. Probably won't be able to catch him. And that pretty prolonged team fight does appear to go the way of EHOME in the end.
It definitely does. They do manage to get that 5-man wipe, except the kill on AQ, of course, still had that Aegis. So a really nice engagement for EHOME. It looked pretty good for Typhoon earlier on. They just don't manage to get the kills they want.
Right. Actually ends up going down. He tried to glimpse 430 back in time, but it looks like the trap damage will tick him out in the end. Nice little pick up there for 430. Now mid lane, looks like AQ gonna get jumped. They do have Never End there as well, and Faith Beyond with the Firefly. He does not have the lasso, but he does not need it with all this mana drain. Never End and 430 just doing so much damage to that Medusa. And with that, I mean, they'll lose a tier 1 tower, and that was the final outer tier 1 tower for the side of Typhoon left. And I'm afraid, John, that Never End and 430 are starting to look a bit out of control.
They really are. They're starting to hit their power spikes, their huge power timings fairly soon. I'd say the AM really starts to get a bit scary within the next 9 minutes. By the 30-minute mark, he's going to be a menace. Same thing with the TA. Once you reach 9 minutes in, I mean, it's already pretty strong. It's just going to get that much stronger. And Typhoon, it's going to take a while for this Medusa to really come online. Again, still looking to finish that Butterfly up. Even then, afterwards, it's going to need a BKB, maybe a Hurricane Pike to get that distance going as well. And it just takes a while for that farm to come in. You're going to need this farm as well. Not only the farm, but the EXP. You're going to need your talents up. And I'm actually not sure if you're going to go for that mana talent against an AM.
Oh, Guevara getting jumped top lane. The Flame Break will knock him back as well, but Faith Beyond could not get in range for the lasso. I do agree with the points you were making, by the way. I mean, AQ, he went for the Sergeant Yasha, which is very, very awkward. We never see this coming out on Medusas. Now he's transitioning into that Butterfly, but that Sergeant Yasha really didn't do anything, it feels like.
That early aggression they were trying to pump out didn't pay off. So this SNY pickup doesn't pay off as well. Unless they're going to go for the disassembly for a Halberd and a Manta style. You could do that. I'm not sure if Medusa's the best Halberd carrier though.
Certainly doesn't feel like it. You never really know, though. See, bot lane will go down. Never end. We'll be there with 430. They clean up another tier 2 tower. And Faith Beyond was just standing there waiting for a rotation from the side of Typhoon, but it never comes out. Speaking of never coming out, Guevara is still infested, or excuse me, the Lifestealer is still invested in Guevara. I'm not sure about this. It feels like this could be time he's just farming up, but yeah, he's just going to hold in Guevara for the moment. And now Lasso, they do end up finding the Medusa AQ. He's by himself right now, though. Guevara, he jumps in onto Faith Beyond. They're going to burst one. They're going to find Sync-Q as well by the looks of it, though. False Promise will be there. But Cat Yu, he even expends the Epicenter just in case. Oh, Guevara just turning it all around. What a play from him.
Yeah, you were talking about how much time was wasted by Fonte, but they were just waiting for that one moment where, you know, that counter initiation would have paid off, and that was it. Sure, Fonte did miss out on a lot of farm, but again, Typhoon's goal right now is to protect AQ, find the aggression with that Infest Bomb, and they are finding these small wins so far. Again, still not the best sign for them, 12-12, but a 5k net worth lead going out to EHOME. And EHOME's lineup isn't a farm-light lineup as well. I mean, you have the AM who farms fast, you have the Templar Assassin who also farms fast and bursts heroes down. So at this point in the game, EHOME is still looking very scary. They have all the timings they need. And, you know, this AM has not really been pressured. The TA as well, not really experiencing any sort of shutdown yet. So Typhoon still has a lot of work to put in.
Certainly so. Now 430. He'll pick up the BKB on the TA. So, not going to have as much fear against those stuns that will be coming out from Typhoon. So at this point, you expect EHOME probably going to look to make another play with that BKB pickup, and they do start grouping up already. See how ready Typhoon is, though, for this. Of course, the Butterfly is also there, and they will actually smoke up themselves on the side of Typhoon. So they want to be the aggressive side of this game, and well, Faith already looking for a target. He does find the lasso onto Cat Yu. Though Guevara again with the 3-man stun. He finds one on Faith Beyond, though they do find Cat Yu in the end. 430 just fighting by himself with that BKB. He'll get Guevara, and that'll be a double kill on him, though Fonte is still chasing. Now Static Storm and Glimpse is there. Sync-Q not able to help his teammate out. It does seem like a win coming out from Typhoon now.
Definitely is, and this aggression is kind of paying off. Sure, you lose your Sand King and your offlaner, but you're not going to be too worried about that. You get a very big exchange in killing off that TA, and that was the 10-second BKB. It didn't even pay off. So it's just going to get shorter and shorter in charges, and as long as Typhoon manages to get fights like that, manages to get that initiation on key heroes, this BKB is going to drain very fast for no real good reason.
It just goes back to Guevara, though. Like, every time EHOME get a jump, this man is just stopping them with a 2 or 3-man stun. And they'll turn it around onto EHOME every single time he does it. It just feels like the one time he doesn't connect that massive stun is the one time that Typhoon will probably fall apart in this engagement. But we'll see, because AQ is slowly but surely starting to farm up a bit more on this Medusa. The more time that goes past, the more happy she's going to be. It does look like once that Infest is available, he jumps in Guevara and they're going to have another go at this. Roshan will be up in less than 2 minutes. They are going to keep eyes on that. EHOME. They are going to stick as 4 as well. So both teams, they understand it's coming up. They just want to wait out that Roshan timing before they try and do anything else.
Dire are scanning.
I have to mention this as well. You take a look at the Vision game right now. Typhoon has it in spades. This time around, EHOME has not dropped any wards. Maybe they were dewarded a couple of times, but they are completely dark in this map, so they can't really afford to go aggressive at this moment. Just no information as to where Typhoon really is.
Very problematic for EHOME. Why? He does have 2 Observer wards on the Oracle, but it's just a matter of actually getting in range to put those down without losing your life and making it obvious you just place them. EHOME, they will smoke up. Just one long line. Faith Beyond, going to be the one to try and find somebody with the lasso, though. Who will be? Scan out as well. There will be a jump. KatU, he will find the Batrider, and now the Stone Gaze being committed to AQ. He will be jumped on by the Anti-Mage Illusions, but it will not matter. The rest of EHOME still holding out, and now they jump in. The Doom being thrown out onto Fonte, but they've lost Q as well. 430 already expended that BKB, though there is the Mana Void coming out AQ. He's got no mana left. Epicenter will be there from KatU, but it won't matter. Never End will take care of the Medusa. Meanwhile, Fonte about to fall, but can they find him? The trap will not be popped off in time either. There's still 4 heroes going down for the side of Typhoon. It looked like a very awkward team fight for EHOME, but they just managed to turn it around. Like Fonte, he cannot go up against his TA, and the Medusa cannot fight up against Never End's AM.
The key thing that happened there was that the Static Storm was landed on nobody. No one was in that Static Storm, and without that control, you're not going to be doing enough damage later on. So that was a very good fight coming out from EHOME and Fonte.
Yeah, getting pretty confident with that attempt at the AM. Like he would at least force back Never End, and they will go for the Roshan attempt instead. But EHOME, certainly the driver's seat right now. 8k net worth lead for them. Oh, KatU actually jumps in. Burrow Strike, it won't be enough though. Though apparently they don't have any detection to scout out KatU. Or do they? Firefly will be there from Faith Beyond, and now the dust comes out from Y. Nice easy pick.
I mean, that was a good attempt from KatU, just a bit too early there, but if he managed to get that, that would have been a great steal.
Well, that will be the final outer tower. Going down for the side of Typhoon now. I think EHOME will take their time in trying to pressure that high ground. Of course, they have plenty of time with the Aegis. Of course, 430 as well. He'll hold the cheese on the TA. I wonder, Typhoon, do you go out of your base, do you try to find a smoke attempt, or do you just get back to farming? Looks like they will just farm up for the moment. They're not willing to try and fight into that Aegis or cheese yet. Perhaps, of course, their best chances of winning a team fight right now is definitely just waiting on that high ground underneath their tier 3 tower. So they've got to get there quick, because Never End, he's just started by himself. Tier 3 tower, already less than half HP. They will put in Faith on that Disruptor. They commit the Static Storm as well, though Never End probably not going to care too much. He just goes for it. He will find it, and, well, Burrow Strike. They will be able to take this Aegis, though. No. False Promise was there from Y. They will be able to hold on to the Aegis, though. Fonte trying to find Y. He will Fortune's End off the slow, and now Ghost Scepter as well coming out from this Oracle. They will find him eventually, but he does attempt to waste as much time as possible. And now that that tier 3 is gone, the shrines are open for EHOME to take.
Yeah, I think the key thing that saved the AM there was the fact that Guevara was under the trap effect. He didn't have his blink up, so he just kind of TP'd in and couldn't do anything, which was a bit of a shame. They could have had that AM kill, at the very least the Aegis taken away, if they managed to get Guevara to blink in.
Bit of a shame, though. Looks like the Roche Pit. They're going to go for a fight now. Guevara jumps in, though. Never End is there. Now a lasso coming out onto the StarLadder. Never End. He'll just go straight for Guevara, and they do find him with the Mana Void. And with that, Never End moving in for more, and he found AQ. All of AQ's mana almost gone. 430, meanwhile, he does take down Faith on that Disruptor. And EHOME looking for more. AQ again, going to be the target though. Buybacks are coming up, but a bash comes out on Fonte. He'll turn around and start man-fighting Never End, but it won't matter. Or will at 430. He'll go ahead and take care of that Lifestealer. Now Guevara going down thanks to that TA, and it looks like AQ is just a sitting duck right now, though he keeps healing up that mana with the Mystic Snake. Nice Static Storm as well, though will not be enough. AQ still goes down. KatU, however, with the Epicenter, will still not find 430, although he will. Though Never End gonna go after Faith. Take out that Disruptor. Only one left on the map, and you know exactly where the man is. He will blink up towards his fountain. Never End really wants that kill. Will not get a bash though. go ahead and... It looks like he will back off because he does not actually have a creep wave with him. Turn now through the mid lane, so they are going to go ahead and claim that mid racks instead of the top. I suppose that is fair enough because there aren't any buybacks really available here on Typhoon apart from that lifestealer.
Yeah, and they can't really do anything with just that lifestealer. They can't just man-fight the AM at this point. They really need every single teamfight tool, and yeah, they tap out.
Makes perfect sense. It just feels like they were just way too behind. I mean, right now, 21k net worth the way of EHOME. A fantastic performance coming out from EHOME, and of course they are going into this as the favourites, so it is to be expected. But this is a best of 3 series. Typhoon will have a chance to try and even it out in game number 2, but they've got to come out with a bit of a different draft because EHOME, they came to play today.
Look, Typhoon tried something different with their draft. They wanted to be a bit more aggressive with that Medusa, with that S and Y pick. They just didn't find the pickoffs they wanted at that point, and EHOME actually ends up farming much, much better than they did. So, interesting way of trying to run that Medusa. Doesn't quite pay off. There were some shining moments there in that effort, but really not enough to control the AM. The key issues were that, again, they didn't have the best lockdown for that AM. Like, their best thing was that burrow and the stun coming out from Guevara, but when you don't land it on that AM, he has such a big window to deal damage.
Well, with that, John, we will move into game number 2, which will be starting very soon. Of course, thank you to the ladies and gentlemen that are watching. We'll be back in just a moment to see how this series is going to pan out. Won't be too long.